I feel like with these general guidelines, this is kind of acceptable. Like we can go by this set, right? We got unusable, decent, good, great, and his best buttons. And I feel like in terms of a tier list, this is good because we can't just do S or like D tier, right? Because that's not as descriptive. But I feel like this should be good. Alright, so let's start. We'll just do it in order, I guess. And we'll start with his parasol, which I think is a great button. So I also got stuff pulled up over here on Dust Loop. So we got it right here. It's startup and active frames, you know, pretty decent. Normal dust move in the air. I think those are good guidelines. Maybe change unusable to underwhelming. Yeah, okay, we could do that. Oh god, it doesn't fit. Oh god, it doesn't fit. There, disappoints. This is a good compromise. We can work with this. Okay, cool. So yeah. So honestly, as far as dusts go, I love this dust. I love any air dust in the entire game that bounces off wall. That includes like Soul's air dust or any ones that I can't really particularly think about right now. But I think a really good feature about this move is, it even says it right here, it stops Anji's air momentum. So if you're falling down on an opponent, you can hit air dust to just stall in the air. And in a lot of cases, if you like double jump, you can even stall twice, which makes your like air movement really unpredictable sometimes. So as a move, it's really good. It's definitely a main tool in his kit. You know, you use Anji's jump dust a lot in the middle of his combo strings to kind of do wall breaks or do wall sticks. So definitely a big part of his kit, very essential and great move. We have the parry. Fuck, I did not think it was gonna be that fast till we got to the parry. Okay, so I'm gonna be straight up. This move sucks. To me, this is one of his most disappointing moves, his entire kit. And it's even funny because recently with the release of Bedman, they actually just upped this move in certain ways. I'm not really too sure. I think they just made it more consistent to hit and more consistent to see. I'm not really sure. But all I know is the changes aren't the best. Yeah, I honestly agree. Yeah, and it comes with a big problem, right? So the biggest problem is it's not just a basic parry. It is a super parry. So this costs really a meter. And it is -1 on block. I don't know what that means. Oh, I guess if you activate it, it's -1 on block, which is really good. Considering other characters, if you whiff their parries or, you know, their parries are blocked, they tend to be very easily punishable. But the issue comes into where, like, you have characters like this, where, like, Baiken also has a parry, and her parry doesn't cost nearly as many resources, which it doesn't cost any resources, right? And on top of that, you can convert on it very easily since it doesn't require any resources. You can throw it out anytime in neutral. Same goes with like Leo's parry if you're in back stance. But I think the biggest gripe I have with Anji's parry, right, is the predictability of it. If you see an Anji with a meter, so many people change their game plan around seeing an Anji with meter to the point where they kind of try their hardest to bait out your parry. So they see an Anji with meter and they try to bait it out, and it's just a little bit more obvious when an Anji might go for it as opposed to like a Leo or a Baiken, so it's a little bit more difficult to kind of smell it out. Anji's close slash, best button. Absolutely one of his best buttons. So one thing you'll know about me is I love in this game when close slashes are like really good on block. And Anji has one of the best on block close slashes in the entire game, without a doubt. So this paired with Anji's like dash canceling is with the new system mechanics with like the whole dash cancel after certain hits like 5k and close slash. He can take advantage of this extremely well. He definitely has one of the best like close slash dash block dash in grabs in the entire game, and it makes his like close mix-ups really scary because I think Anji is contender for some of like the best close pressure in the game at times, right? Especially if he has meter, and this just paired with that it really goes a long way. Where would we put the spin? The spin is good. The spin is absolutely good. I don't really believe when people say the spin is the worst tool in the game. It's one of the most disgruntling tools in the game for sure. It's annoying and infuriating when you're trying to do a dash parry or a dash dance and someone just PRCs at you and completely screws you over and starts their combo strings. It does seem a very like unfair, but then you have to really put into perspective, you know, against really good characters such as like Naguriyuki, or like even in some cases like Leo, or like Bridget, for example. Like in certain cases, all these characters that have long range poke duels, or like Mei. I think Mei is one of Anji's best matchups in the game, and a lot of people consider Mei to be one of the better characters in the game. I think like the parry just makes characters like the top tier characters on a more even playing field with the rest of the cast when you're playing Anji. Like the best way I can explain it is if Anji is considered low tier because he has a lot of bad matchups in the game, I think all of his matchups are more even across the board than most characters in the game. Like to where Gold Lewis has a horrible matchup against characters like Axel, I think Anji does a little bit better against a majority of the roster than a majority of the roster can handle each other. I'm sorry that was like super convoluted and complex the way I say it, but you know, hopefully you guys get my drift. So now this move fucking sucks. This move is also extremely disappointing. So it's just hard to use this move. It's really good on like following up your Oki if you you know, for example, hit an enemy out of the air with Fujin, or you're like ending your combo string with Fujin and you just want to jump in so you can keep your pressures going. It's really good for that. But other than that, you know what? Okay, we'll move it into decent just because it's really good for keeping up pressure, right? But like besides that, I mean, especially in like competitive play, who are you jumping in the middle of a block string on? Absolutely no one. You're literally throwing away the game if you're doing this. And even in some cases, like as a wake up option, jumping in at people is really not that great. Like if you mistime it even slightly by a couple of frames, you can just jump in on someone and as they wake up, they just mash grab and throw you back. So I've brought up multiple times in the past what I think they need to do to make this move a little bit better. I think adding a backwards dash would just send this move like over the moon. Having the mix up between a backwards dash where you can kind of get out of like situations and having a jump in dash where people have to kind of wait and see which direction you're kind of going towards would make this move tremendously great. But that's, you know, that's like the best case scenario of Arc just adding new moves to the game. So as of right now where it stands, I think it's pretty like decent or disappointing in the middle. Anji's Dust, it's decent. It's decent. So it's decent because just like every single dust in the game, it is an overhead and a pretty good one at that. But something that sucks about Anji's Dust that a lot of people don't really talk about is the range, the hitbox on this thing. Look at this thing, man. It like actually doesn't fully extend past his umbrella. Like it actually lies a little bit inside of it, which is just crazy to me. When you have characters like Sol or Potemkin or Mei whose dust like reach all the way across the screen, I think his dust is just one of the more underwhelming ones in the game for sure. Solely on range. Other than that, it's an average dust. There's not really much I can say. He's not one of the characters with privilege in this game where he can kind of combo off his dust like characters like Happy Chaos. I'd almost put it in disappoints just for that hitbox. Yeah, honestly, bro, yeah, might as well. I'm trying to find like Mei's hitbox right now. Just give me 1 second. Yep, there it is. Well, let's take a look at this thing, right? Like, look at this. Even if her hurtbox is bad, right, or her hurtbox is good, like, bro, she literally just reaches her fist at you. That's crazy. It's just phenomenal. So yeah, I think Anji's Dust is something that leaves a lot to be desired. You pretty much only get to use it as the first hit of a sequence because space. Yeah, if anybody tries to like FD, you should never go for a charge dust or even like a spark does. It's really bad if somebody FDs. Absolutely right. All right, now we're getting into like the basic moves, right? The neutral moves. 2K, it's a good move. It's a good move. Nothing I can say. It has decent startup, decent end lag. You know, it's active for 3 frames. Not really the best. It's not the best recovery. It's kind of hard to do stagger pressure with it, but it is -2 on block, so it is safe if you do, you know, hit it on block. And its hitbox is really good, I think, for 2K. You know, it's one of those 2Ks that kind of he like definitely lunges out. Is it the best 2K in the game? No, not by any means. Is it good? Does it get the job done? Yeah, absolutely does. The fan toss. Fuck. This is one of those moves that like it's definitely between decent or disappoints. This move disappoints. This move disappoints, right? I think after certain RC cancels, it's a really good move if you want to keep up your pressure. If you do a lot of like hard knockdowns or like even soft knockdowns, like after things like Rin or Nagiha off counter hit, it's good to keep up your pressure. But boy, oh boy, is this a risky move when you don't have meter and the opponent is like somewhat competent at making good decisions. This move has a extremely like long startup. 30 to 43 frames. That's not to mention that sadly the projectiles aren't true projectiles until they hit the floor. So the opponents have a lot of time to kind of decide when to jump. They don't really... It's not that scary. It's kind of like, imagine Kai's projectile wasn't real and you could just dash through it until it reached the corner. It's kind of like that. Really, if you see an Anji jump, and they do this move like more than twice, if you see an Anji jump, it's very easy to kind of get the jump and counter hit. And this is supposed to be one of his like safe on block moves, right? Like he lands this, he continues his pressure. So I get why they wouldn't want this to be like a super overpowered move, but just the way that it is right now, it makes it an extremely underwhelming move unless you're trying to just keep pressure up after RC. Especially in like combo strings, like there's not really many places you can fit this in combo strings. There are a couple places I could think of, but not for like the best. Honestly, probably its usability fluctuates so much based on whether your opponent reacts. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if it's a move that's based completely on your opponent's reaction, then it can't really be that great, I feel. Let's go on to the next move. 2D, same thing as 2K. Actually, no. 2K or 2D is fantastic. That move is great. So it's minus 11 on block. Okay, so that's probably keeping it from being like one of the better moves. But yeah, so really, what can I say? This move is it has decent range. I wouldn't say the best range, decent range. It's a great low profile. It even says that right here, funny enough. It's one of the moves that I love to throw out after I throw butterfly, because a lot of people try to kind of jab you out of your butterfly, or like when an opponent throws a butterfly, or like Kai, for example, throws his projectile out. This is a great move to throw out if you think they're trying to follow behind, and you can kind of catch them on a counter hit. In addition to this move just having decent hitboxes, it leads to a lot of like Anji's great it leads to a lot of Anji's really good combo pressure strings, especially on counter hit. But even without counter hit, if you just have the Ko on point ready, you can get pretty decent combos very easily using this move. And more importantly than that, it is one of Anji's sexiest moves. I mean, bro, look at that pose. You tell me that pose is not beautiful. When I kill somebody in the game using this, I feel so powerful, without a shadow of a doubt. This is one of the main reasons I wanted to main Anji, was because his moves are just so stylish, and he looks like he's having such a great time. What is this? 2H? I mean, honestly, I think it's great. So, it has its problems. Without a doubt, it has its fucking problems, right? But it does its really good job as being a frame trap. That's kind of what most people use it as. When you're dealing with characters like that don't have DPs, having these frame trap moves is extremely great. Catching people with like Giovanna trying to jab out, or like Milia trying to jab out of things, or Zato of all people, because he has a very fast jab. It's really good to have these moves because, especially looking at the hitbox, it has a very, very big frontal hitbox. Its hitbox is kind of concealed away back here, like near his hands. So it makes poking out of this move very risky for the opponent, which I love. And besides that, if you do somehow manage to fit this into your combo strings, it fits in a lot of extra damage, funny enough. I think its biggest problem is its startup, but I mean, it has just so many good rewards, especially if it's on counter hit. So I think it's a great move. I think it being a frame trap just adds to Anji's game plan a lot more. Glad he has it. Oh, his jab, best one. One of, if not the best jabs, I think, in the game. So you can, fight me on this. I think its startup debatably, obviously not like that great as a jab. It has a 5-frame startup. There are 3-frame moves in the game, so obviously it does fall behind on that. Being -2 on block isn't anything to brag home about. But what I specifically love about Anji's 2P that makes me really feel safe and comfortable using it, the hitbox. My man's literally turns into a gun. Like, you can see it right here. He's actually holding a gun in terms of like the game. So it just makes you feel 2P is absolutely true. It's goddamn huge. Yeah, it's great, man. It's great. Like, slapping people in the shins, the get the fuck off me button, it's nice. It's one of the better get off me buttons in the whole game, and I'm extremely happy that Anji has it. Works in so many situations. It's very good. And if you can get the timing of it, if you land a 2P counter hit, it does combo into Fujin, so you can get knocked down and start your pressure. It's a great move. I love it. What the hell is it? Oh, this is 2S. Oh, 2S. Good. 2S is good. It's... I feel so weird saying 2S is good because I swear I catch more people than I'd like to admit with 2S. But every time I look at this move, I forget that it's extremely easy to punish. It doesn't Gatling into Fujin properly, so they can DP it very easily. It does Gatling into 2H, which is great, and 5H if you want to continue your pressure. It's a good low option for sure, but it's not one that you're just kind of throwing willy-nilly. Unless you're going against characters like Gold Lewis, right, who are really slow and kind of have to dash in, and you can catch with moves like that, or like Potemkin. But typically, it's not a move that I feel comfortable throwing out in the middle of neutral. It's great combo fodder, without a doubt. Even if they FD it, you still get blasted back to the point where you can continue your combo structure, and it's a really good move to do butterfly Oki after an opponent FDs it. So it has that going for it, but other than that, it's not like the best move. It is a lot of the ways, wow, a lot of the time it is the only way you can continue your combo structure into like wall break. I'd still put 2S in great, honestly. It's just too important for round start. Yeah, he does. It is a good round start tool, isn't it? It's actually one of his better round start tools. Yeah, I guess we'll bump it up solely because of its round start potential, but it's still like super risky if you're throwing this out. Oh, this move, best move. His 5S, man. So before the patch, this move, good, very good. It did everything it needed. After the patch, his best move, absolutely, without a doubt, on combo hit, on counter hit, without counter hit, and its combo structures, and its pressure, best move, without a shadow of a doubt. And its hitbox is crazy too. Anji literally flapping his wings out here, becoming a bird trying to soar, and it works. It's just so good with the like bounce it gets now. Its convertibility is phenomenal. It makes him feel like honestly, when this move got buffed, it really felt like Anji got added to the game, without a doubt. Like this was his defining move in the season 2.5 patch. There's not much really I could say about it that people haven't already said. It does extremely high damage, especially if it's like your combo starter, and even on block, if an opponent FDs, it leaves you far enough away to where you can do very good butterfly Oki pressure. Yeah, there's not really much I could say. The bounce is insane. I'm shocked they let this move in the game. But they had to keep this move in the game. After they took away his hard knockdown and Rin bouncing, they had to give him something. His convertibility was horrible. And let's be real, this, after spinning in on somebody, after close slash, is beautiful. Beautiful. 5K? 5K is great, honestly. 5K is great. It might not seem like it. It kind of looks like a very basic move. Not really the best on round start. If I could ever find it. I don't know why it's so hard to find moves. But like he puts his toe out there, bro. And it's -2 on block. That's really good. I didn't even know it was -2 on block. You can just throw that thing out willy-nilly. That on top of the fact you can dash cancel now, it's really good on block. It's one of his better moves. It's kind of the same reason why I like the close slash. If the close slash is really good because it's +1 on block, then the 5K is good because they have to predict whether you're going to go instantly for a 2D or go for a dash in. Or even just go for a Rin cancel overhead. Let's be real quick. We all love to kill with this move if this is a wall break. We love to give people the dirty toe and just see Anji go like... One of my favorite moves in the game to kill with, without a doubt. So just for that, I'm putting it up in great. Standing P, yep. Same with this. I think it's one of the better standing punches in the game. My man literally turns that gun into a rifle and is just like, here we go. On block, -2, pretty decent, right? The toe poke is the greatest. It absolutely is. It's one of my favorite moves to kill. Yeah, his 5P, its startup is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, a 6P startup, it's not that great. But its range really makes up for it, and the fact that, you know, again, you get one counter hit, you can convert instantly into Fujin, makes it really good. And just the size of it all makes it very reliable if you're trying to do, like, FD spacing, right? So all in all, really good move. Recovery is meh, but I don't think that stops it. This move. So, nobody's gonna change my mind about this. Move is decent. Move is very decent. I'm surprised you rate it so high. I like it for anti-air situation, but it seems very niche. Yeah, it's not his best anti-air situation. Definitely, like, 5P isn't one of the better ones for anti-airing. But if you do anti-air with it, it does lead to really good conversions. But the reason why I like it is just because it goes really well with crouching P, because you can just go into crouch P, stand P, and then go into any conversion you want. Maybe I am kind of underestimating it. It is a 6 frame on startup, so we might just put it here. But I still think its utility is really good. I don't know who I am or why I'm here. All I know is I missed Fujin. But all I know is that I missed Fujin. Goes into Fujin tier. We'll make a Fujin tier just for that, honestly. Wait till we get to it. But we have to really talk about 5S. So this move, I wait for the day where they buff this move, man. They have to buff this move. It's just really underwhelming. Honestly, putting it in disappoints. Because it's good as a move, like, if you want to use it in combo structure, I guess. It doesn't really have that much utility in your combo structure. God, okay. Oh, there it is. I think its hitbox is really must go with the Fujin tier. That makes more sense. I think its hitbox is meh, especially when you're looking at like 5H, which has the wing hitbox. My biggest gripe with this move is definitely its forward momentum. This move does not carry enough forward momentum. If it just went a little bit more straight and kind of held together more for your block strings, I feel like this would be one of his best moves in his toolkit. It's just, as far as this move goes, especially in neutral, it's not that great. You kind of expect a man who's turning himself into like a cartwheel of spinning fans to have a way better, wider hitbox, but like, his hurtbox is just all over the top. It's just weird. It's one of the more disappointing moves. You don't see a lot of Anjis use this in combo fodder or like combo strings or anything like that. This is one of his more like, this is definitely the move that people just kind of forget about for sure, I feel. His 5P, it's decent. But they're making it better. I don't want to stay on 5P or 6P for too long. It is 6P, right? Let me just see. Yeah, it's 6P. I was saying 5P. I don't want to stay on 6P for too long. You can see the hitbox doesn't look that bad. Its fucking startup is horrible, I think. Its recovery is horrible for a 6P, without a shadow of a doubt. On block, it's -17 frames. And on top of that, bro, if you're gonna go for an anti-air that's very committal, you might as well just go for Ko. And that's the thing that kind of sucks. If you land this move on counter hit, the only real thing you should kind of convert with is Ko. It doesn't really have as good of convertibility as like Kai 6P or like Geo 6P or Soul's 6P or, you know, like Leo 6P. His 6P is just, he has one. He definitely has. The only reason it's not disappointing is because they're buffing it, so I know they're looking at it. Far Slash, great move. I think his Far Slash is one of his great moves, without a doubt. It's kind of, I really wish I could put it in best, but it's way too committal. It's way too committal of a button. Its range, fantastic. On counter hit or regular hit, very good. Its hitbox, beautiful. 21 frames of recovery. Why? Why? Like, I get it. I get it. It's huge. 21 frames of recovery, not cool. Startup 11 frames. It is a pretty big poke, so I don't think that's a big problem. If this move was like 18 frames of recovery, like 16 frames of recovery, this would without a doubt be maybe not even just one of his best buttons, one of the best buttons in the game, without a doubt. But as where it stands, it's a very, very good move. One of his better moves, not one of his best moves, but definitely one of his really good moves. And oh wow, look, it even says right here, but committal. So yeah, you really got to be worried about that. Fujin. Agree with the placement. The active frames, I think, is a big problem. It whiffs for no reason. Yeah, it also whiffs a lot for no reason sometimes, especially on like backdash. Fujin. Yep. Honestly, he said it as a joke, but he's not wrong. Fujin gets its own tier. This move, it's its own thing. It's hard. I can't put it anywhere specifically because it's well, one, obviously it's one move built up of 4 other moves and a startup, which is the spin, right? So, but this move on hit is fucking crazy, right? So let's go find it in special moves. 1, hitbox. It's not the craziest hitbox. It's a good hitbox. It's a very frontal hitbox, so it's good on trades, right? You're not very often gonna get counter hit if somebody tries to outpoke your Fujin, right? On block, -8, -6. Yeah, Fujin is the lifeblood of Anji, obviously. It's gonna be his best, his like bread and butter. On counter hit, leads to so many conversions. Like, so, depending on where you're counting. If you're counting hitting enemies from the air or on the ground, it leads to so many good conversions that you can kind of take your pick from. I think obviously one of its most charming characteristics, even if it is -8 or 6 on block, is the fact that opponents have to be worried of a follow-up, such as like Rin, the Shin, or Nagiha. And because they have to be worried about those overhead, follow-ups, you can kind of just wait it out, wait till you're back from recovery, and just start going for jabs. It's very common, you'll see like in high-level Anji plays, people not following up Fujin, just throwing Fujins and just kind of waiting, seeing what the opponents will do, and then going for more Fujin pressure again right after. It's honestly, I think this move is great. There's not really, I don't want to talk. I think the actual move of Fujin is a great move. I need that to be clear. I think the other parts of Fujin are subject to difference, like the Shin or like the jump in or Nagiha. I think all of those have their own separate ratings, but I think as far as this move goes, one of his best moves, one of the best moves in the, honestly, I think it's even one of the best moves in the game. You could, in neutral, you just throw this thing out like a monkey sometimes, just going like Fujin, Fujin, Fujin. It's fun. It's so fun. Well, the super isn't a button, right? So we can't just put it in best buttons. But you really can. Yeah, this might be a super biased opinion. I think this is one of the best supers in the game. Before they patched it, or before they buffed it, thing sucked. Thing absolutely sucked. Before they patched it and buffed it, it had a really big problem where it had no like upper hitbox. So if they were even like slightly above it like on the wall, it would never catch their toes and it would never wall break. Ever since they kind of fixed that issue, it's a lot more consistent, and I really do appreciate that. But I think why it's one of his best buttons is, despite the fact it doesn't have an invincible start, I love the fact that you can RC an opponent after you hit that move on the wall and get a like ludicrous amount of damage, especially on like counter hit, a insane amount of damage. And the fact that you can kind of Kara cancel it after Fujin makes it a lot more of a better wall breaking tool than it once was. There are a lot of times where I'm just in the middle, like in mid screen, and I get a counter hit with Ko, and just off of like a 5k into Fujin, I go into my super and it wall breaks. And it really leads to a lot of good opportunities for Anji, especially mid screen. If you know like the good conversion routes mid screen and you know how to like RC and you have 2 meters, I think it's really good. You guys might have seen me do throw this in the corner while I have 2 meters and then RC into an opponent and go for a dust overhead, and that'll like kind of launch them up into a position to where they get wall broken. And even if they block it, I'm still plus from all the active frames of my super, so I can continue my pressure from there. So I think it has a lot of really good utilities, especially for a super, considering like what it is. It's not like Souls where he kind of time raves and then you RC and you do your own thing. I think it just has its own thing. And plus, let's be real, hitting your opponents with a super gigantic fan and seeing Anji smile and do this is fucking awesome. So yeah, one of my favorite supers in the game for sure. I think this is a great move. I think his air heavy slash is, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think its conversion ability is really good. I think catching people like on whiff is really good with this move. I think its hitbox is extremely good. That's for sure. If I can ever find it. There it is. Yeah, like my man kind of takes that gun aspect and starts throwing it down at your like at his knees, which is really, really good and hard for people to 6P. But it is very 6Pable. You know, you can tell he has the hitbox right there. I just think this move is good. It's really great. It's consistent. Especially for like combo fodder. Having that move hit so low really lets Anji continue a lot of his good block strings and combo strings. Not really much I can say about this move. Its startup could be better, absolutely, but it's good. Honestly, this might be one of his best buttons since the patch. I never really thought about it. But let's go take a quick look at 5K in the air. There's jump kick. Yeah, this might be one of his best moves. Honestly, probably one of Anji's best air-to-air moves. If you're really good at timing it. Mostly because it can Gatling immediately into jump D, which just, I mean, goes a long way if you're in the corner, especially with the addition of it launching opponents higher in the air if you get an air hit. This makes this move a lot more phenomenal, and in combo strings too, this move is, like, you use this move a lot, absolutely. It's one of his kind of carriers for sure. Has a really good startup. Its recovery could be better, absolutely. And its active frames could be better, but, you know, for what it is, it's a really good air-to-air poke. I would consider this one of his better moves. Jump K is absolutely in the best button tier. Jump D Gatling into air is crazy. Yeah, it's just you don't really see a lot of Anji's go for like JK. Mostly because, we'll get into that soon, but it's mostly because of its jump slash is so good on reward. But we'll get into that in a second. Yeah, his jump P, it's good. I'm gonna put it in good. It's just, as an air move, as an anti-air move, it gets outclassed by so many of his other moves and his other air pokes that it's just good. You know, he has it. It works. It has a decent hitbox. I'm not gonna say the hitbox is bad, without a doubt. It's okay. But I mean, you know, you can see from right here, a 9 frame startup compared to a 6 and a 7 frame startup. Not one of his best options for sure. Has good recovery though. Has really good recovery. All right, so this is the reason why it's hard. It's kind of debatable whether Anji's jump kick is better than, like, it is a best button. Mostly because he has the jump slash which absolutely, without a doubt, is like the definitive best air poke he has if you land it, if you can land it. It's really good for like, you know, jumping in on an opponent. If you do it at the right height, you can be safe on block and just kind of start your combo pressure. But yeah, the real value of this move, one, the hitbox is great, and if you get this move on counter hit or even regular hit, it leads to some of Anji's best and highest damaging combos easily. Its startup is also really good at 7 frames, only 1 frame higher than like his jump K. It's active for 5 frames, which is, it's okay. It's okay. Its recovery kind of sucks, but you're not really throwing out more than 1 air move if you're in the air anyway, so it's kind of eh. But I think this move is definitely one of his best buttons. Used it on a lot of combo strings. And just, yeah, the reward on this move is so crazy good. It's just, it makes it one of his best buttons for sure. One of his best air pokes, definitely. Ko could have been best button, bro. Ko could have absolutely been best button. Putting Ko in great. I don't give a damn about the counter hit convertibility. I don't care about the light convertibility. As a move, I'm gonna think about it solely as a move, right? It's okay. it leads to a lot. Okay, yeah, it's not okay. It's best button. It's so hard, man. Like, I don't want to put it in best button, mostly because they took away the hard knockdown aspect of it. It's just, to this day, it really hurts the move. But you can Kara cancel it now, which makes it a lot more reliable in mid-screen. Yeah, it is his best move. It's one of his best buttons, one of his best anti-airs. It's just, bro, I want hard knockdown back. There. It has to be in the yeah, it's absolutely in the best buttons. If you're above the best buttons area, you are in the best buttons. Fujin and Ko are in the best buttons, without a doubt. They get their own place on the tier list. Because as much as I know it's one of his best buttons, give it hard knockdown. Give it hard knockdown. That's all I want. Nagiha. They fucked me up with Nagiha this patch, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. They did... Oh, I just realized Butterfly not? No, it is. Yeah, they did some stuff with Nagiha that kind of... I mean, I love it on counter hit now. It's a great move on counter hit. The slight vacuum effect makes it a lot harder to deal with opponents that have very good 2K 2D follow-ups. Like Giovanna, Amelia, Zato, any character like that, really. But man, on combo, or not on combo, on counter hit, they did really good with this move. They really did. But it's only good on counter hit, right? Other than that, if you land a hit on an opponent, it's you can kind of get your pressure, continue your pressure, get a nice soft knockdown, and make a good follow up. But like as a move, I mean, hitting it with no meter offers no reward, like almost ever, unless it's a counter hit, and it has to be a very decent counter hit. But it is one of his best follow-ups after Fujin, for sure. This one is a bit more difficult for me to decide. I feel like it being -7, I'm gonna put it in great. It's not his best button. You can cancel it, but it's not his best button, because it's not like, a lot of the time, unless an opponent FDs, right? If you see an opponent FDing, then you'd probably want to go for this. You'd want to go for Nagiha more. But like, if you see your opponent has really good reaction time, you kind of don't often want to give them Nagiha to kind of 2K 2D you or like 2P you into their pressure. So I might be wrong. I might regret saying this. I'm gonna put it in like good or great. I'd probably put it in good myself. I could see the argument for great. It's hard to rank. Honestly, I'm gonna put it in great solely for the fact that out of all of the follow-ups, it is his best follow, without a doubt. I think out of all of the Fujin follow-ups, it is the best follow-up for him, without a doubt. And now we go for Rin. So if Nagiha is like a great move, Rin can only be a good move. It can only be a good. It's 21 frames of startup, 34 with early cancel. Still very reactable. The fact that they took away the bounce for this move, to this day, kills me. I like the fact that on counter hit you still really do get good combo conversions, but yeah, if you're gonna just make it a 21 frame move and then just give it the same utility as Nagiha, to the point where it just gives you good follow-up options unless you RC it, then man, just make it 25 or 28 frames again and just give me my bounce. Like, I would much rather just have my bounce, I'm not gonna lie. I think it suffers a lot from having it's lost its identity. It's a move that, especially on block, it's still really unsafe on block, so like going for it is pure death. It's good solely for the fact that it has a good counter hit and it's an overhead. Other than that, it's like, man, they just did not want this move to succeed as much as it could have. And now time for Butterfly. Is Butterfly a best button material? Is it really? Like, it could be. I feel like it should be. I use it a lot. I killed with Butterfly. No, without a doubt. What am I talking about? Absolutely, butterfly is best button. You know, Oki after grab, after soft knockdown, after hard knockdown, it's great. It literally is a defining character trait of Anji. Having that butterfly on the ready so you can kind of give opponents the hard time they need when waking up, especially characters that have DPs, right? Turning into the bird is just really, really cool, especially it's just a really great aspect of the move, right? And again, you know, if you throw it like after things like super, it you know, if you have 2 meters to convert it with super, it just makes it a really cool combo potter move. Probably one of the best buttons in the game, once it's out, more or less. Yeah, it really does. He controls the whole screen with it, man. I think it just has really big problems. Like, startup is fucking horrible for this move, and it would be great if it just traveled a little bit further. It doesn't have to travel the whole entire length of the screen, but it could travel a wee bit further, without a doubt. So yeah, I think that really calls it. This is what we have so far. Some of these are probably debatable, without a doubt, but I think a lot of these are pretty decent and pretty on point for what like the tier list is for in terms of like Anji's great moves, or what his like better moves are. Honestly, you could use this as like a good reference sheet for neutral control, right? Like what moves aren't the best to throw out and what moves are really good to kind of keep up your pressure and control space in the game. Who knows how this list will look like once they drop the patch coming soon, I'm sure, after Bedman. A lot of these moves might get nerfed, a lot of these moves might get buffed. Realistically, the only thing we can kind of hope for is for them to buff some of these more disappointing moves. Definitely his dust needs a little bit more range. This, all it needs is just to count as a projectile on the way down. This needs a little bit more of a forward momentum to keep up with block strings, especially if they do like FD stuff. And let's be real, parry, it needs a lot to be better. So I don't even know where to start with parry. But yeah, other than that, you know, they Day 1 Anji compared to where we are right now, I think he's in a really good place. I'm happy to see where the character's evolved, and I'm very excited to see where he's going to evolve in the future. Anji is without a doubt one of my favorite fighting game characters that I've ever had a chance to play ever since like Accent Core, and I'm so happy they just added him to this game. You know, I think they did really good with him. I think he's visually very fun to watch, and just, you know, it makes me happy to know that I got a chance to play him in this game's lifespan, honestly. But yeah, I think that really calls it for a tier list. Hey, I can't stay, but I want to say happy birthday. I can't wait to watch the VOD. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support, and I hope you're having a fantastic rest of the day. I'm going to be posting this really soon on the channel, so hopefully you guys will be looking forward to that. I also got more Anji stuff coming soon. And definitely going to have a discussion on the channel soon about whether or not, you know, what the future of us playing Guilty Gear Strive is. Because I love this game with all my heart. I think Guilty Gear Strive is, even with all its flaws, for me, it's one of the best fighting games ever made. But with the way things are looking, it looks like Street Fighter 6 is going to be a very prominent feature on the channel. So I'm going to have a discussion about all that stuff in the future. But for now, I'm going to take a quick break and probably hop on in like the next 20 or 10 minutes. And just start playing Metal Gear Solid or some Resident Evil. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys all have a fantastic day, and I will see you all very soon.